how do we get or begin training our children, whether they're 5 years old or whether they're 12 and 15. Obviously, there's martial arts and things that you can expose them to and get them into. But what are these things I'm thinking of? How do we create that self-awareness and situational awareness in these kids? Are there things that you've seen or tips that you give fathers, wives, and saying, hey, like I know with my kids, like when we go out to the store, we make a game out of finding the exit signs, right? Hey, where are all my options to get out of here? Hey, head on swivel, right? We say that in the park. Hey, did you see that car? Did you see that person? Hey, did you see that guy sitting over there? I don't know what choices he made in life, but there's no reason for us to go over there right now. Walk tall and move on.
I love all that.
So there's things, but I really am curious. You spend so much time training men and women to be better, and I always like to point it back to parents that are just like, gosh, man, this world it's seemingly so dangerous, but we know so much more because of social media. And how do I prepare my kids to step into some
Yeah.
of this stuff?
So that's a wonderful question. And everything you did was spot on. I loved all of that. Um, my kids have told me stories of people following them and what they did and the way I remember my daughter Olivia saying that there was this guy following them at SeaWorld,
Mm,
and she was there with my other daughter Madison and a friend, and she said, I noticed he was following, and I told everyone, and we started to walk as a group to the bathroom, and he started following us. And I said, let's pose for a selfie. And I did a selfie so I could grab a picture of him. We did a group selfie so we could have a picture of him in case we had to identify him. And then we went to the bathroom and waited there way too long. And she's telling me the story, and he wasn't there when we went out. We were careful going to the parking lot to the car. And I'm like, holy fuck, that was genius. Great. Like,
yeah,
but
absolutely.
but it wasn't like a specific lesson. So um, in our system, we talk about the three I's: instincts, intuition, and intelligence. And we really, again, these aren't like, that's not language for kids, you know, uh,
Mm,
uh, but you as a parent, and all parents listening to this, or guardians, uh, you're your kids' mentors and coaches. So I start with this: is how did my daughter pick up that somebody was following him? She had a bad feeling, and
mm,
then instead of putting blinders on and going, no, there can't be, I'm in a public space, nothing would happen. They've heard me over and over again say, always trust your intuition. In fact, like if you go to one of our seminars, uh, we one of the parts when we talk about the timeline of violence and understanding this blueprint of like if you practice how to get out of a headlock, you haven't practiced dissonance, pre-contact cues, de-escalation. And so most self-defense starts with the violence.
mm.
Anyways, the more important thing here is, you asked me, what do you teach kids? What do you teach kids is you got to teach parents, because parents got to teach their kids. And the first thing I do, if the best I could, and definitely, I was figuring a lot of this out while my kids were growing up. If I were a new parent now, they'd be getting a different education. The number one rule is you can't scare them, because if you're trying to teach them to manage fear, but you're scaring them about how scary the world is, like that's not
Yeah,
working, right?
right.
Um,
How do you
and so
empower them? Yeah.
yeah, so what you did was great, because you created games that are creating programs. The next thing that I would do there is create conversations with them. Why do you think that guy is that? Why wouldn't you go there? So now we've identified that exit, and that exit. If, let's say, fire drill at school, kids, which exit would you go to first and why? Well, that one's closer, Dad. Yeah, but notice, and then your other kid says, but there's like 50 more people over there, and there's hardly anyone here. So we'd be, and they may not even notice that. You go, and you might say, look, everyone's over there because that's where the TV is, or that's where the food line is,
Hmm.
but nobody's over here. So that would actually be faster to get out of here if there was some emergency.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're teaching people to introspect.
Yeah.
And you're subtly as a parent or as an, and listen, what we just did there should be taught to adults too, but maybe the languaging
Right.